Hey peddlers, welcome back to a brand new video. Today I'll be explaining the full story of my warranty issue with Giant Canada and specifically. So without further ado, let's get right into this video. So if you guys have been watching my videos for quite some time, you know that I own myself Giant TCR Advanced 2, and in specifically I had a warranty issue that arose during summer of this year, which happened during August. So basically what happened, guys, if you guys aren't familiar, I know this is going to be for the true fans, so if you guys are not subscribed, definitely subscribe and like this video. But for everyone that's watching, I know you guys are probably true peddlers, so that's great to see. And I'll basically give you guys the recap. I have my notes written right here because I knew I was going to make this video eventually, just because I knew the situation and the solution wouldn't be something that would be positive at the end, and that's what I'm here to explain. So basically, I was riding my TCR Advanced 2 during the summer, putting on lots of kilometers in August when one of the wheels actually broke in July, or perhaps I think in June. So June or July, one of my rear spokes on the PR2 rims broke, and I was like, you know what? Fine, I'll get it replaced. So I actually took it to a local bike store that I really do like. These guys are not a Giant retailer. They basically had to reset up the tire tubeless, put the new spoke in, tighten all the tension for all the spokes, and basically I got my wheel fixed, and that was about $60 Canadian, so quite expensive. But I was like, you know what? That's not uncommon. It's happened to me in the past, but with a lot older wheel set. So coming this time, I just gave it the benefit of the doubt. You know what? Perhaps it was just one loose spoke, not a big deal. But then what ended up happening was the following month, if that was either the end of July or start of August, basically another spoke broke, but it was a different one. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. This is not normal, especially the fact that the rims were not ridden outside for a lot. I did a lot of the kilometers on the bike originally at the beginning of the year on the trainer. So at this point, there was only really about 3,000 kilometers, give or take, done on the bike. So basically, when I actually took it to my local bike store, they actually advised me before getting it replaced to actually check if this was a warranty issue. And I totally forgot that when you do buy a brand new bike, that you have 1 year for manufacturer defect or just even parts that are not normally wear and tear. So for spokes, yes, one spoke to break and then having it relaced or like retightened and make sure that's all going, like that's perhaps normal, but to have two spokes breaking within the time frame of 1 or 2 months is not common. So that's usually covered under warranty. So unfortunately, that was my situation. That was my predicament that I was in, and I was, like, oh man, like I really wanted to keep riding my road bike, keep going on the group rides, but I was like, if this is the situation I'm in, I'll put that on the back burner, do a lot of gravel riding, and that's kind of where I shifted my focus. And I'm really happy I do have my gravel bike because, if you guys start cycling a lot, you guys will know you'll run into a lot of mechanical problems here and there, and that's just cycling for you. So after that, I kind of had to rethink, okay, what do I do? So I knew this was a warranty issue. I won't be naming the store where I got my Giant TCR from, but in my opinion, their service when it comes to, let alone their own service department, getting things done and fixed, is pretty bad in terms of the turnaround and communication. But in terms of warranty claims, in my opinion, it's absolutely terrible. They leave their customers and just Giant buyers just up in arms in terms of what to do with their warranty. And that's something that I've seen a lot in the bike industry. It's very rare to find a bike shop that actually follows up with their customers. That's why one of the bike shops that I go to that's local to me, I really do like them because they update you via email, they update you with phone calls, and when you actually call them, they pick up, which is surprising, right? A lot of bike shops you're aware of, when you call them, they just don't answer and they let it ring, which is very absurd because, if you have a $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 bike that's getting service and you do ride, you want that done. And this isn't not uncommon thing. Customers want updates on their bikes. That's common practice. So because I know majority of Giant dealers, especially local to me, just have very poor communication skill when it comes to warranty, I just decided I'd go directly to Giant Canada warranty, ask them what we can do in this situation, what can I do in terms of the course of action. Now I understand, Giant Canada or just the big brands have to communicate with the local bike shops that are dealers, and that's how you work through warranty claims. I totally understand that process, but I wanted to have them give me at least a direction. So if I bring it to a bike shop and they're giving me the runaround or saying that's going to take 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks to figure out something with no communication, at least I can say, nah, I'll pick up my rim, I'll go somewhere else I can actually deal with it, that actually has good communication. And one thing a lot of people won't talk about is when it comes to a warranty claim, you have to remember, bike shops are not that concerned about warranty claims because they're more focused on, at least primarily in my opinion, on bike sales. So if you already bought a bike from them, they got their money out of you. And I'm not trying to say all bike shops are this. I'm not putting, I'm not saying every bike shop's like this. I'm just saying a lot of bike shops that I've seen firsthand and in my opinion are like this. So that's just me giving you my suggestion is just watch out. And that's why it's such a hard time finding a good bike shop that actually values their customers. And I have that thought process too, is that if you treat your customer, regardless of the situation, but you try to give the best service, the best communication, they'll be a long life customer rather than just the quick turnaround that many bike shops see customers as. So for that reason, I wanted to contact Giant Canada, have them explain to me, yes, is this a warranty? Is this covered under warranty? Is it not? Because if it's not, then I won't even waste my time talking to bike shops, having them contact Giant Canada, and then Giant Canada contact them back. And I understand too, bike shops are busy. Warranty claims are not top priority, but as a bike shop, as a dealer, it should still be one of your priorities. And I know firsthand bike shops are not that busy where there's no dead time to update customers and warranty claims. That's just my thing. I'm just sharing very insightful firsthand experience with these warranty things. So basically, I contacted Giant Canada and talked to the warranty department. Now they were I don't think it's common for a lot of customers to contact brands directly, but then again, it wasn't like I couldn't talk to them. He was willing to talk to me. And from the start, it seemed very positive. He said to me, hey, yep, that is not normal. It should be covered under warranty. Basically take it back to either the bike shop. He suggested the bike shop that I bought it from, but I just didn't want to because of how they deal with their service. So I suggested, hey, can I bring it to any Giant dealer? He said that's totally fine. Explain the situation and explain that it's covered under warranty. They submit the claim to Giant Canada, and then they either get me a replacement wheel, which at that point he said was doable, but we later turn out that's not, and there's more of a fiasco that happens. So basically, I drop it off to a Giant dealer that's local in the area that's close by, and basically I left the rim, said I talked to Giant Canada, they said it should be covered under warranty, and they assured me, yep, we'll get back to it, we should figure something out. So I left it, and I'm very patient. I don't really rush things. I understand people are busy, people have things to do, but I don't like to be forgotten. I think that's probably the worst thing that anyone can encounter is being forgotten. So after about 2 to 3 weeks, I don't hear anything back. So I purposely, on one of my rides, go in to get a checkup, and they didn't even submit the claim, which was absurd. I'm like, I've left this for 3 weeks. Why hasn't this been dealt with, or at least communicate that with me from the beginning? If you really are not going to do your due diligence, don't accept something and then just forget about it. And I don't know if bike shops are, they have to take warranty claims if they are a dealer of a specific brand. So I'm not sure about that, but they took it and they just never updated me. So then they said they would get to it, whatever. A week or 2 weeks goes by, and still no word. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure this is, it must have been during July, because August is when I kind of work out my other options. So basically, I go back to the bike shop, and this is the most interesting part, and I know you guys love hearing this. So I'm like, okay, so is the rim getting replaced? Is this covered under warranty? And basically the guy comes out, he's like, yeah, we submitted it, and they said it's not covered under warranty. I'm like, okay, that's pretty weird, because I just talked to Giant Canada, and they said, yeah, covered under warranty, take it to a Giant dealer and put the claim through, and it should be sorted. So then I don't know if this is the manager or the boss of the specific Giant dealer. He comes to me and says, things are very busy, but if you want your wheel fixed, I'm trying to remember what he said. If you want your rim fixed, we're not going to wait for Giant to pay us for the work. You will pay us to fix your rim, and then Giant can reimburse you. And I sat there, I looked at him, I said, a company, like, you want me to pay for the work, and then a company's gonna reimburse the customer when they should be reimbursing the bike shop. So that, I was like, no. I was gonna say okay, but then I thought about it, I'm like, and I think to relace the whole thing, to do all the spokes and fix the rim, it was gonna be more than $100. I was like, no, like, this is covered under warranty. That's what Giant Canada said. So I took the rim back, called Giant Canada, relayed this information, and they seemed very impartial. They didn't want to give any opinion. They're like, well, we can't control what goes on with bike shops. And I'm like, okay, but if these guys are dealers of your brand, like, you should have, somewhat awareness to how they're treating customers of your brand, of a Giant customer. But he kept really impartial, which, okay, it is what it is. And I suggested I could go to another Giant dealer and hopefully work through this. Then that's when he indicated, I have all my notes here, that's when he indicated that the rim is actually not available. So the 2020 rim that are the PR2s that I just showed at the beginning of the video, but I'll show it again, hopefully it doesn't autofocus, but this one right here, he said that they were all sold out because of the global situation. They didn't have any leftover stock, which was understandable at the time. So I said, you know what, even though I really want a replacement rim, he said, if you bring it to a Giant dealer and they're capable of getting you the closest comparable rim, perhaps in a different brand, then we can definitely do that. We'll reimburse the bike shop for the rim that's the most comparable. So it could be a different brand, but it'll be very similar to what you have, and we'll get you back to riding. And I was like, you know what, for the first bike shop messing up, whatever, it's only been a month, at least I can finish August and September with some good quality riding and call it a day. Even though my rims weren't gonna match, I wasn't too mad because I was like, you know what, I understand the situation. They're trying to do their best with what they have. So I took it to another Giant dealer, explained the situation, and they actually were able to confirm that they didn't have any rims in stock that was comparable, and Giant didn't have any rims, which we already knew because I contacted Giant Canada. So that's one thing I like about contacting Giant Canada, is because a lot of times, this is my opinion and my experience, I've experienced bike shops not even do their due diligence to check, and they just talk out nonsense, I would say, because if they do have stock but they just don't want to check and they don't really have to worry about a warranty issue because they're not really getting paid for it, then I like to know at least that, hey, you know, if Giant Canada's telling me that they're in stock and the bike shop's telling me in stock, not that they're out of stock and they don't want to like figure out if it is, it's just nice having that reassurance. So that's why I really like the fact that you can call headquarters and really have the concrete final answer. So basically, the second Giant dealer I went to couldn't get me a rim. Not even because they didn't want to, but because they couldn't. They didn't even have comparable rims in stock, and they didn't have the replacement rim that I actually just wanted from the get-go, which is my original rim. I just want the same PR2s, but a replacement brand new rim. So I relayed this information back to Giant Canada. I said, hey, you know what? I've been very patient. And that's when I started talking about this, because I was looking at getting new tires because I had to put on my carbon rims. I actually mentioned this in a video, and there's people that were commenting they experienced something very similar, and because of the whole global situation, they were nice enough that whoever was the representative for Giant actually upgraded them to the next tier in order to get them back on road, which I thought was super nice. And especially, I think this is where a lot of the miscommunication comes from. You know, if you're a customer and you're guaranteed a warranty, the reason why warranty exists is because if I'm gonna spend a lot of money on a bike and something goes wrong that's out of my control, I should be taken care of. This is not something that is cheap by any means. And I know a lot of you guys riding know what I'm talking about. Cycling is not a cheap sport. So you want the best warranty, and that's what you're buying. That's why the price of the bike is expensive too, so they can cover this, because not everyone is gonna have a warranty claim, but for the people that do have a warranty claim, they're covered, they're taken care of. That's why we have warranty. So I wasn't asking from the get-go, hey, I wanna upgrade, I want carbon rims. I have carbon rims. However, those are my rims that I was lucky to have that I bought from a teammate, but at the same time, I like using those for racing, and you know, I should have two different rim sets. That's why originally I had the aluminum rims on this, because I like having a training wheel set. So just because I have a rim doesn't mean I shouldn't ask to have either my rim actually just replaced like I want to. I just wanted aluminum replaced. But if they can't provide that, like the people that commented on my video saying, hey, we were in the exact same situation you, and Giant, whoever they dealt with, Giant USA, wherever they were from, were able to upgrade them to the most comparable rim. And if they didn't have any aluminum rims in stock, then they got the lowest tier carbon rims. And I think that is the perfect solution, because if I didn't have these rims, which they didn't know I had, I wouldn't be able to ride. If I didn't have the indoor trainer and I didn't have my race rims that I really don't want to be riding on as training rims, which I know you guys can, agree on, I wouldn't be riding, which is crazy, because you bought a bike. This bike is not cheap, and I can't ride because I don't have a rear rim, especially that they know of it. Yes, I was lucky that I did get to do some rides on my carbon rims, but I really didn't want to put a lot of kilometers on my carbon rims because I use those for racing. I got training rims, and I got this bike specifically because I wanted training rims. So that was very disheartening to hear, because at this point I started to pull tooth and nail with them, and it felt like pulling teeth. And this is where, the whole experience just started to go downhill for me, at least. So I have my notes where this gets into September. So I've already been dealing with this for I think a month and a half. I think started late July and carried through all the way through August. So basically, Giant Canada told me at that point, hey, you know what? Bring it to the Giant store that you bought it from, even though I advised that I really don't feel comfortable just because based on how they do service and whatnot and things I've heard and seen firsthand, and again, that's my experience, I just didn't want to, but that was kind of like the last resort from them. And yet again, guys, this is me trying to be as, understanding and as flexible as possible. Yet again, I tried with 2 other dealers. The first dealer said, pay for it yourself and Giant will reimburse you, which was, I've never heard that before. And the second one just didn't have anything in stock and basically said, like, we can't do anything because Giant Canada doesn't have anything, and we don't even have anything that is comparable that Giant could reimburse us for giving you. So I basically drop off the rim to the Giant store, and Giant Canada left it off as, hey, you know what? The Giant store you actually bought it from, we had someone higher up in Giant Canada figure out that if you leave your rim with them, they'll actually contact you. We have it all set up, and they'll get you a comparable rim because they actually have a source where they can outsource you a rim that's very comparable. Now, it won't match, but it's comparable. And even at that point, I was already frustrated. I had to go with 2 bike shops, but I still said, fine, okay. Then basically the Giant store didn't update me for over 2 months. So I left it for 2 months just to see what would happen. Because I was very curious. I was just astonished to say, like, every week that would go by, I was like, wow, really? Like, you can't update me. Like, I have my rim there and it's been over 2 months and not a single word, which is absolutely insane. I'm just looking at my notes. So when I called Giant Canada to relay this information, I said, hey, you know what? I tried calling the bike store, no update. They haven't even updated me. And I've done everything you've said at this point, and I just find it ridiculous that it's like I'm playing cat and mouse and like broken telephone with these bike shops to figure out a solution when you said originally, like, just drop it there and they'll take care of it. Like, that is crazy. And he started questioning my truthfulness and my honesty. And I just, at that point, I knew things were going downhill, because when you have that gut feeling that they could care less, which at this point is basically shown through their actions, I knew this wasn't going to end anything favorable in terms of how it was going to work for me getting a replacement rim that I so desperately need. So after Giant Canada actually questioned my honesty and truthfulness in terms of the original Giant dealer saying that I need to pay to have it replaced and Giant Canada would reimburse me, not the store. So this is where it actually gets pretty interesting. Giant Canada says, we'll contact the bike shop, make sure that they contact you. And it wasn't until I had to call the head of the Giant store, which is Giant Canada, to tell them to do their job. And everything's here. I have the work order now. I won't show it obviously for privacy reasons, but when the work order is put out September 2nd, and the only time we get communication is 2 months later, that is absurd. So what ends up happening, I have the email right here. This is October 27th, okay? And I dropped the rim off September 2nd. So basically, over the phone, the Giant store that I dropped my rim off said, yep, Giant Canada is sending you a replacement rim. And I said, wow, they must have gotten something in, or they must have figured it out or got the new set of rims or something, but I was ecstatic. And they basically said, sorry, it's a different customer that the wheel is on delivery, I mentioned. So they don't even know what's going on, which yet again shows incompetence. If not only it takes you 2 months to update a customer that's brought in a rim for warranty that was pretty much set up by Giant Canada, following that, it says we will follow up with Giant Canada about the warranty rim, which, guys, it's been 2 months. This is absurd. And basically, still no word from them. And yes, guys, I get it. The bike shops do get busy, but for it to take 2, 3, 4 weeks to get just basic answers is crazy. And yet again, like I said, they don't know if I have race rims. They don't know if I have a trainer. So for all they know, I'm just a rider that bought a bike, and now the back rim I don't have because it's getting warranty. What am I supposed to ride? What am I supposed to ride? How am I riding? That should be their top priority, is making sure I get back to riding. So now we're almost to the climax and the finale of the story. But basically, since the Giant store can't relay what Giant Canada says and could care less because they didn't contact me, I decided to try to contact them. Obviously, the phone rang 4, 5, 6 times like it always does. And I contacted Giant Canada. Now, Giant Canada basically said at this point, hey, you know what? Even though you're having a terrible experience with the Giant store, and it's been over 3 months that you've been trying to get a replacement rim, or like we promised you something that would be comparable, you know what? We don't want you contacting us anymore, because you really should be dealing with the store, the Giant store. You shouldn't be calling Giant Canada, you should be dealing with the store. And you know, is that we can't, or is that we should? So that's where that gets interesting. I technically should be able to still call and say, this is the situation, but yet again, the same just run around where they don't care and we'll call back the store and see. Like, it just blows my mind, guys. Like 3 months without a rim, and I'm chasing them down. So that's where I pretty much left it off. I didn't expect anything to actually happen, anything better, but I ended up writing a review on their website, just explain the situation like I am now. And that's when I get an email saying that, hey, we've tried contacting you, please contact us back, the service department, and we'll try to sort out your rim. Which is crazy. Yet again, it's been 3 months, and this is the first time I'm getting an email from the service department regarding my rim? That's crazy. So anyways, basically, I called today, and this is why I wanted to make this video. I've been obviously busy with other things behind the scenes. You can see my equipment got a little bit nicer, but what ended up happening, guys, is that I called the service department today, and I'm listening to the service department explain the situation, explain that this is the solution in terms of what they have. So explaining what I already know, but at the same time, I wanted to hear it again because I can't contact Giant Canada. Giant Canada said they don't want to talk to me. So I want to have a better understanding, at least from the bike shop's perspective, as to why I can't get the replacement rim. And they explain the current global situation, they're out of stock for rims, which I understand, and that they can try to get me the most comparable rim. Guys, I was willing to do that from the beginning, after chasing down 2 bike shops basically to get my rim serviced. I was willing. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to be extra in the sense of, yes, if I have another rim, I'll bring it right here. If I have another rim and they give me a comparable rim from a different brand, yes, the decals will be different, it won't match. But I said, you know, at that point, originally back in the summer, I didn't care because I just want to ride. But at this point, I let the service department know that it's crazy how it's been so long, 3 months, and you're basically saying Giant will only potentially send you out a Giant rim as soon as they get in stock, which might be 4 weeks or might be 6 weeks, and the decals might not line up. Or we can get you a replacement rim from a comparable brand now. So you couldn't do that 2 months ago, back in September or August, but we can do it now. Like, just lost for words. So I basically explained my frustration in the sense of, it's just poor customer service. I shouldn't be chasing down bike shops and the actual overarching bike company to figure out warranty claims, right? So all in all, I think the easiest, best solution in this thing, if they were truly out of stock, was if Giant could have sent me a comparable rim, so the next tier up, front and back, that's what they should have done to avoid this whole chasing down bike shops. And what I mean by that is this: when Giant said, hey, bring it to a Giant dealer, get them to order you a comparable rim and we'll reimburse that bike shop, that made sense. Now, the fact that I did try doing that and it didn't work, at that point, Giant Canada should just realize, hey, you know what? He was more than willing to accept something that was comparable. Obviously, this is more of a headache for him. And because we wanted to ensure him the best customer service, just because of this whole situation, we'll upgrade him to the next most comparable rim, which if that's a low-end carbon rim set, then that's what it has to be. But obviously, they couldn't see that and just could honestly, in my opinion, care less. Now, while on the phone with the Giant store, I was questioned as to why I didn't bring the bike originally there to have them do the warranty claim, and why did I bring it to other Giant dealers. And I said very simple, very just blunt, I was like, you guys don't have a good service department. The servicing when it comes to warranty claims and just service in general is terrible. And what I mean by that, and I said this, I said not the fact that you guys don't try, it's the fact that the communication and the fact that it takes such a long time to even get anything in terms of progress is just not acceptable. Guys, I'm not asking for the next day turnaround. I'm not saying I want answers tomorrow or I want answers 2 hours from now. I'm not saying that. But after 2 months, not one email, one phone call, one voicemail, that's crazy. And the only time I actually did get a phone call or an email is after, calling Giant Canada how many times? Guys, I would say I called them easily 20 to 30 times, which is insane. And that's only after trying to work with the local Giant dealers. So basically, they weren't taking kindly to those words. And it was at this point that the service department at this Giant store started using some profanity. And it was that point where I knew to pull the plug. And this is where it was kind of taken back. And this is how I'm very understanding and nice. Was at one point, I was almost willing to say, you know what? We'll wait for Giant to get the rim potentially in springtime, and then I'd get my replacement rim. I was almost willing to agree on that. Even though I was expressing, hey, you know what? I just still don't feel good about the fact no one has really said, sorry, and actually, tried to make me feel good about the situation. Hey, you know what? Yeah, it's been rough that you haven't ridden for the past 3 months while this thing has been going on or whatnot. And just all in all, guys, it's conflicting in the sense of, yes, I understand the global situation and whatnot. But what I asked the service department, which was interesting, is that if you're telling me, buyers of a Giant bike can't get service on their bikes because of shortage or whatnot, are you advertising that when someone's buying a bike? Do you think someone would like to hear, hey, you're buying a $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 bike, and if your rim breaks, like it did for me, if you don't have more money to buy a new rim, I guess you're not riding because we don't have anything in stock. And yes, we could upgrade you, but why would we? You'll wait until next season to get your replacement rim. Are they advertising bikes like that? Giant bikes like that? No, they're not, right? So if they're not advertising bikes like that, I expect them to follow through with the service in terms of warranty that they're advertising, which sounds, hey, you have a warranty issue? If we're out of stock, we'll get you the closest next upgrade comparable to that, because obviously that's not your fault, that's on us, because you bought this bike expecting warranty, and that's what we ensure for our customers. Simple as that. But after I said that, like, your department at this Giant store is terrible, and it obviously shows because after going to 2 Giant dealers, I left it there and had no communication from you guys, and it was only because I contacted Giant Canada to get you guys to communicate with me telling your service department is bad. You get offended and then start being like rude towards the customer that's expressing their concerns. And at that point, I said, you know what? I don't care at this point. I was going to be nice and potentially just leave the rim there and wait or whatnot, even though I shouldn't, obviously. Give me the rim, stop the warranty. At this point, guys, I was seeing potential. I don't care, guys. It's not an expensive rim. It's more so a training rim. It's more so the thought, like the principle behind it. And it just opened my eyes to say, hey, this is a rim, okay? Imagine this was a frame. Imagine this was a frame. I'm lucky I have some at least rims that I can ride on temporarily, or the fact I can ride on the train. Imagine it was a frame. Imagine it was a frame and they're all out and they would don't want to upgrade you. What would you do then? So from my experience, guys, I know this video is very long, but I know a lot of you guys will appreciate this because we are spending thousands of dollars when we do buy a bike, and a specific branded bike. So just made me really reevaluate the value that you do get from Giant. And from talking to Giant Canada, and specifically, in my opinion and my experience, I think we have to quote this. In my opinion, my experience, that's a quote. I would say that's probably the worst customer experience I've ever had from a very reputable company. Because obviously we can understand, Giant stores or bike shops or even just smaller stores in general, like they don't have maybe the best training for customer service, but you'd expect a big company to have good customer service, and just didn't. I don't mean they were rude to me. Well, when they questioned my integrity, that is kind of rude because you're basically saying I'm a liar. But just in terms of actually make you feeling like you're a valued, important customer, they didn't do. And the fact that they can't do it and they're at the top, you just imagine how that trickles down to the Giant stores and the other Giant dealers and see how that does. The only good experience I had was at the second Giant dealer that basically said, we don't have anything in stock that's comparable, that's a different brand, and Giant's out of stock. Like that, they basically called it, and they didn't promise anything or said they would do a warranty. Like they tried as fast as they can to get everything done. And at that point, I didn't even leave my rim there for them to make a claim, because I already did that at the first Giant dealer that gave me the runaround. So if you guys did follow, I basically ended the phone call just saying, you know what, I want my rim, I'll pick it up this week, and that's it. So I don't get a replacement rim. And it blows my mind away, guys. And I'm not going to drag this on. It's just like, if they could have just September, like when Giant Canada said, bring the rim in, they have a comparable off-branded rim from a different brand that they can swap it with, I was fine with that. But how are you going to tell me that 2 months later that you're going to do something that was supposed to get taken care of back in September and it's November, and think I'm just going to be all cool with that and happy? I'm not. So that ends it. I won't be buying a Giant bike going forward. And I would, if you guys, take what you want from this story, but there are other bike companies that do offer better warranties that I haven't really experienced with, because I've ridden lots of bikes. Obviously, having dealt with a lot of warranty issues, this is one of the biggest warranty issues I've ever really dealt with, and you guys have been along for the ride. So I just wanted to document this because I know a lot of you guys watch my videos in terms of Giant stuff, and this is just to show you guys you do get what you pay for. Perhaps in the future, if I have a different bike and it's slightly more expensive than the comparable Giant, maybe their warranties like, hey, you broke a spoke and we have none in stock, we're sending you a rim right now, replacement should be there in 2 weeks. And if it isn't, please call us back and we'll get to the bottom. Maybe that's what you get with the savings that you get from buying a Giant. You see how I said savings like this? Because is it really a savings when you have to deal with 3 months of a headache? It isn't. So I'm just all in all disappointed. I won't be buying a Giant TCR going forward, and unless, I don't even think it can be retrofitted, guys. And the fact I'm even willing to potentially try to see the positive in this, I really can't. So once this bike's gone, I guess I'm going to another bike brand. And obviously, I'll keep you guys updated. Obviously, I'm not thinking of selling it right now. It's during winter, so we'll see what happens when next season comes along. And I hope you do appreciate this, because this is more honesty than you'll ever see in probably 99.9% videos out there. So if you guys do appreciate it and appreciate this content, like the video. I'm trying to get back into doing the normal swing of things. Obviously, the better camera equipment is going to make quality way better. So I do hope you guys appreciate it. And other than that, follow me on Instagram, Strava, links in the description below. And until the next one, I had to say this because no matter what happens, guys, we're always going to keep on pedaling. Okay? So till the next one, keep on pedaling.